Welcome to my U.S. history students only on this video here. This is going to, as promised, this is going to help you write a, take the Canvas-based textbook quiz. This is my way of ensuring that you've kind of leafed through the textbook and you're familiar with what is in this module. In this case here, the first thing you're going to do is we're going to do quiz number 1. So this is MOD13 quiz 1, and the title of this lesson is Post-War America. So there's going to be lesson 2, there's going to be lesson 3, there's going to be lesson 4 along here. But in order to teach you how to do the textbook quiz, this video is specifically just going to walk you through quiz 1. Important time saver tip. When you're writing this quiz, there's something that you need to do to save some time. And that is, first off, go through the whole lesson. Don't go through the whole module. This is a quiz on lesson 1. So go through all of lesson 1. Get a cup of tea, get a Coke, whatever you drink. Get away from your desk, take your laptop, have it run on battery, and just go through the textbook and become familiar with it. There's maps, there's videos. So this is when you can play the videos. This is when you can interact with the maps and anything else that's interactive. And we're going to talk about some of these interactive things here. And just read. And that's going to save you some time because you are going to now know how to leaf back and forth with different sections as you search for important concepts, places, and events. And then on another question, important people. So those matching quiz questions are going to require you to leaf back and forth through the whole chapter. So don't hesitate to do that. And also the other time-saving tip is make sure you have side-by-side monitors, side-by-side windows open so that you're taking the quiz on the left-hand side and watching the video, and have your textbook, not watching the video, and have your textbook open on the other side so that you can leaf through your textbook. And the way you do that is just resize the windows. When you right-click on opening your textbook, that's in the best practices for how to use the online textbook. I'm not going to cover it again. If you don't remember how to use the online textbook and how to set up side-by-side windows, that's in best practices on textbook use. This video is just about taking quiz number 1 on module 13. So that's what we're going to walk you through. So your textbook should be open to module 13 and go into the lesson opener. Quiz number 1 for lesson 1 always has a question on the lesson opener, and that is before you actually start your first lesson 1. So in a module, the brand new lesson 1, before that there is something called lesson opener, and the essential question comes up. So the essential question here shows you that we're going to be talking about this as the essential question. Were the 1950s a time of prosperity for all Americans? Kind of got hidden off here, sorry about that. That's the essential question. And we're going to answer that question as we go through lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, and lesson 4 in this case here. So now that we have it open, and we have the textbook open, we need to set it up and resize it. So you grab the handles on the right, so you just bring your cursor over until you're right on the right-hand edge, drag it back until it's half the size of whatever screen you're using. Now, if you've got this hooked up to your 72-inch television, kudos to you. You listened to me and you figured out how to do that, and that's very, very helpful. If you have 2 monitors, like I always do, show one on the one monitor, show one on the other monitor. You can set it up that way. But if you've just got a school laptop and that's all you've got, it's going to look a lot like this when you get it set up. So you're going to resize your textbook over here, and you're going to resize Canvas over here so that you are now side by side. Now, at this point here, you can get rid of the contents menu in the textbook. You don't need that anymore because we are going to now navigate through it with the right arrowhead. So get rid of the contents menu by clicking on this contents icon up here, and it'll close the contents menu, and you've got a full screen that will look like this, and you're ready to take the quiz. So now, on your left-hand side, the first click will get you back on that window. It won't do anything else other than say, oh, I'm back on this window. The second click will actually open and do the function wherever you click. Now when you come back to the textbook, because you were last in that window over there, the first click is not going to do anything except bring you back over here, and and then your second click is going to actually initiate some function. All right, so that's the way this works. So Mod 13, Quiz 1, Post-War America, and we've got that open over here. Now we can start the quiz. The access code is babies, because one thing about the 1950s is there were a lot of babies born. The guys came home from the war, they had a new job, the GI Bill helped them out, they were able to buy their first home, they were able to get a good education, they were able to get a good job, and babies came. Lots and lots and lots of babies, including me. Yes, I'm a baby boomer. Very, very end of it. Technically, they say the baby boom era ended. The baby boom era ended in, some people say 59, which was the year I was born. Some people say 64. But either way, I'm at the tail end of the baby boom. My oldest brother was born in 1950, so he's pretty much at the beginning of the baby boom. So my family spanned the entire baby boom, and now we're all old, because I'm the baby of a baby boom family, and I just turned 60 last year. So the baby boomers are now retiring, and we're going to be a burden on you because you all have to work your tails off to support our Social Security checks. And my husband says thank you very much, because his Social Security starts next February, and he needs you all to work hard so that our Social Security checks don't bounce. So thank you very much. Anyways, babies, that's your access code. Ooh, that was a distraction. All right, so now question number 1 in the Canvas quiz over here is a fill in the blanks question, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions, 5 blanks. So we got 5 blanks to fill, and what does it tell you here? Where do you go to find those? I will always give very, very detailed instructions, but yeah, it's going to require that you read the instructions. Don't just go, where's Mr. Leavitt? Where do I go to fill in these blanks? Read it. It'll tell you. Don't be so lazy. All right, it says, before lesson 1 begins, in every module, there is an opener. Okay, so this is your warning. This is in the lesson opener, the module opener. It's not in lesson 1. It's in the opener. All right. And it says, in the module 13 opener, there's a History Channel video to watch. Always watch the videos. Okay? They're useful. But you know, that's when you're drinking your tea. You don't need to watch it now. You're supposed to get away from your computer. You're not supposed to have Canvas up or anything. Just enjoy the videos. Watch them. They're all very short, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. They know you haven't got a long attention span. They're very generous with your short attention span by making these videos very, very short. All right, to navigate this, okay, and then it says keep scrolling down. There's an interactive timeline. Oh, here it is. All right, so on the right-hand side, you have found this interactive timeline. Yours won't look like this when you get to it. Keep reading. Click on the plus sign to drill down on the timeline, and you will see that there was actually 2 timelines, a red one and for the United States, and a blue one for the world events. All right, so here we have the red timeline on top, which is the United States, and a blue timeline on bottom, which is the world, and we had to hit the plus sign in order to get that. If you hit the negative sign now, it just looks like one timeline, and they're not separated, so hit the plus sign, zoom in on it, separate them out. Now, the question, what does it say? Advance to the year 1950, where you will see a button on both timelines. Use these 2 buttons to fill in the blanks of the following sentence. All right, there's a single button on the US timeline. There is a single button on the US timeline. There is a single button on the US timeline. Sorry, I went too far over. So that would be right about there. That's 1945, 1946, 1947, 19 whatever it is. Who knows? But here is the only one that has 2 years on it. So the US has 2 events on it. The US has an event and the world has an event. So the question asks you to advance to the it doesn't tell you what you're looking for, so you're going to have to click on both of them. Click on the top one, see what's happening in the United States. Click on the other one, see what's happening in the world. All right. So the world event, because this is blue, is the one that I've got open here. The Korean War is happening in the world events, 1950. And the blanks over here is asking you something about Korea. There we go. That's our starting point. We're going to start with the world events. And it says, in 1950, the blank Korean Army. Blank Korean Army? Where does it read over here? Read it. What does it say? And blah, 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 blah. Korea was split into two countries, the communist North Korea. The communist North Korea. So I'll bet that first blank is North with a capital N, right? Always copy directly what you got here, capital N, North. In 1950, the North Korean army, backed by Soviet weapons, oh, there it is, my second blank, backed by Soviet weapons. Soviet has a capital S. If you do not put a capital S over there, it will be marked wrong. All right? It's backed by Soviet weapons. What are we reading here? Crossed into South Korea. Meanwhile, back in the United States, back in the United States, this is where you click on the US button. All right? So we were on the World button before, now we're on the US button. Back in the United States, and disc jockey Alan Freed is the first to use the term rock and roll on the air. So a radio station. All right, what does it say for my fill in the blanks? Meanwhile, back in the United States, a disc jockey for WJW radio in Cleveland. I already helped you out here. See, it's over here. Here's Cleveland, Ohio. I've got the blanks filled in now. So yeah, you can cheat. All right, all right. Back in the United States, started hiding the African American origins of the rhythm and blues music, the songs, rhythm and blues songs that his listeners loved to hear by calling it rock and roll. All right. Have you noticed what I did wrong yet? I deliberately made a mistake. How many of you see it? If you don't see it, you'll have to wait because it'll show up later. But rock and roll, that is a word. It's not a word, it's a phrase. So if the blank is, if there's only one blank and it's missing a whole phrase, it means I'm looking for the whole phrase, and it better be typed exactly the way you see it over here. Rock and roll is not rock and roll. It's not rock with an N and a roll. It is a rock space apostrophe N apostrophe space roll. Now you'll notice over here, I've got the brackets already there. So don't put brackets on it. If I've already got the brackets over there, the double quotes, don't put them on again, because then the actual sentence will have double quotes, rock and roll, double quotes. All right? So that's got to be an exact match. So when you do that, you're done. All right, so that's the way it goes. Question number 2. Question number 2 asks, now click on the right arrowhead in the online textbook, which is what we did, and you'll advance into lesson number 1. Before we were in the lesson opener, remember? All right, so every lesson starts with a big idea subheader and a why it matters now subheader right at the beginning. I will almost always pull a question out of the big idea. So before you get too far into a chapter, into a lesson, expect some kind of question out of the big idea. Sometimes it'll be a fill in the blank, sometimes it'll be this one here. This one has multiple correct answers. It says, the Truman and Eisenhower administrations led the nation to make several adjustments after World War II. Choose all of the following that are listed as these adjustments. All right, in the years, so here's the big idea, and here's why it matters now. In the years after World War II, the United States became the economic and military power that it is still today. Nope, wasn't in that sentence. I should have looked at the big idea one. And the big idea says, the Truman and Eisenhower administrations led the nation to make social, economic, and political adjustments following World War II. Aha, there's the adjustments. Social, economic, and political. All right, now these will be shuffled. So if you're at a friend's place doing homework, your friend's is going to look different than this one here. So just say, oh, if you're on the phone, and just say it's the top one, it's the third one, it's the fifth one. No, that's not going to work. It is social, political, and economic. So in this case here, social, political, economic. All right. Down here in this right-hand corner, you're going to see this little orangey yellow thing. It looks like a window inside a circle. That's what it's going to ask you to do. And when you do that, because the question says, scroll all the way down to the bottom in this section where it says, as you read, use the graphic organizer to take notes on key issues in post-war America. In the bottom right corner, there is a small orange-yellow window pane icon inside a circle. Click on it. That's what you'll get. All right. The table will be available through the whole lesson. So in every page, in every textbook lesson, there will be some kind of graphic organizer for you to use and play with. So in order to make sure that you found that, this question asks you the position of each one of these on the table, to whether it's the top, second to the top, second to the bottom, or bottom. All right, so your pull down menu tells you, and this will be shuffled as well, so they're not going to appear the same. So all you have to do is match on the left to where the position is here in this graphic organizer, and off you go. All right, question number 4. Click to advance to the next section. Once again, the arrowhead. When you scroll down a bit, you will see a phrase with a blue dotted underline. Click on that phrase right here, the GI Bill. See the blue dots underneath it? Click on it and it expands a window, tells you the definition of the GI Bill. It will actually read it to you in English and Spanish, which is very cool. So if you're a lazy reader, let the textbook do the reading for you. All right. And so now you'll see the pull down menu over here, where you get to match these questions to all of these blue dotted underlines that you're going to see throughout the textbook. So here we have the GI Bill, which says that it is a name given to the Servicemen's Readjustment Act, a 1944 law that provided financial and educational benefits to World War I veterans. On this side over here, it reads a name given to the Servicemen's Readjustment Act of 1944. That's pretty much a dead giveaway. Match it. All right, GI Bill. Now, you've got to find another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. So this is why you're going to be leafing through the textbook with these right arrows and left arrows until you find a whole bunch of blue dotted underlines. If you run out of blue dotted underlines, then you're going to have to figure out another mechanism, and I'm going to show you at the end of the video how we can identify some of the extra stuff that I use when I do not have a minimum of 4 matching question definitions. Okay, sometimes there's only 3, sometimes there's only 2 blue dotted underlines in a lesson. So I have to have 4 in order to make a good matching question. Sometimes I go to 5 if there are 5 of something. So most often there are 5 important people that I use in my matching question for people. This one is events, concepts, and definitions. So this one here, we've got 3 others that you will find, and if you don't find 4 blue dotted underlines, I'll tell you at the end of the video what else you're looking for there. Just keep leafing through though, you'll find it somewhere. Do not go on to lesson 2. This quiz is only related to lesson 1, so when you hit lesson 1 review, stop and go backwards, you missed it. All right. Question number 5. The tables are always a big target for me to give you a quiz question about them. So here it says, there are 4 charts provided to show different elements of change brought on by the unprecedented economic boom. So I will try and give you some hints, but when it says charts, just leaf back and forth, scroll up and down. This is why it saves you a lot of time to actually grab a cup of tea or a Coke and go sit and go through the whole video. When I say look for charts, you'll say, oh, I remember those, I know exactly what I'm looking for. Poof, 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 you'll find it really fast. And it says, which chart is the only one to show a drop during the 2 recessions that hit in the mid-1950s? Here's the dates across the bottom here, and all of them are the same dates. That's the x-axis. The y-axis is the one that goes vertical. All right, so the y-axis is specific to what the header for each of these charts are. So you've got 4 different charts with 4 different headers, so the y-axis matches whatever is at the top here. And it says, which chart is the only one to show a drop during the 2 recessions that hit in the mid-1950s? So roughly about here, you're going to see the 1950s. Okay, so it starts in the, I can't read it on that one there, but it starts there. So here, there's only one that even has a drop. This one goes straight up, this one goes straight up, this one goes kind of up and still up, and this one here goes up, and back up again. So it's savings, okay? That's pretty easy. So hit the pull down menu, this one's not a pull down menu, just hit the savings, and off you go to the next question. All right, now we are on people. In every lesson, you can expect to have a matching quiz for famous and influential people. Once again, look for the blue dotted underlines that you click on. So here is Harry Truman. And here is a description about what he did that was very famous. Find it over here and match it to Harry Truman. and off we go to the next one. Anytime you see a big insert box like this, that's another dead giveaway. If it's about an event, it's probably going to be on the matching quiz questions about events, events, definitions, or places. If it is about people, it's pretty guaranteed that it's going to be on your matching quiz. So read here about Jackie Robinson and find out which one of those, if any, are about Jackie Robinson. You can actually pull down the menu and say, yes, Jackie Robinson is on there, so I know I'm looking for something about Jackie Robinson. Find it, click on it, and carry on. Here is another person. This is a man's face, of course, and it says Nixon's checkers speech. Richard Nixon was the president. It's pretty certain he's going to be on my pull-down menu. I pull over here on a menu. Yes, he is. What is he famous for in this instance? His dog named Checkers. All right, so that's very cool. As it says over here, this man, when accused of not disclosing gifts from financial reporters during his run for vice president, gave a famous speech on television where he acknowledged accepting a gift, his dog named Checkers. All right, so that's going to be in the video, even though it's a video, even though there was no blue dotted underline for Richard Nixon. When you see a video about him, pretty certain that you're going to have to watch the video and you'll find a quiz question that identifies in a matching question who Richard Nixon is and what he did that was important for you to know. All right, note, sometimes, it's going to be right here, sometimes the same answer can be used twice. It is rare, but sometimes there are too many important things to learn about one person, place, or concept, so it may appear twice. And here it is, Harry Truman up here and Harry Truman again down here. So watch out for that. And the bottom one is, there is a he's famous for the plaque on his desk that said, "The buck stops here." All right, so he was famous for that. He was also became president when Franklin Delano Roosevelt died. So it was very important to have his name on there twice. So I did. All right, question number 7 asks, when there is a video, I will generally do a matching quiz providing you with an explanation along with the timing marks on the left where you have to match it to a short phrase, event, or person on the right. This is from President Nixon's video in the Republicans Take the Middle of the Road section. All right, so this is the Checkers speech. All right, so that's where you find the video. And so here's the timing marks for the first one. Here's the timing marks for the second one. Here's the timing marks for the third one. And I did not remember to put a timing mark on the fourth one here. The timing mark is actually 1 minute and 14 seconds, but it should be there by the time you get into this quiz because I'm going to fix it after I shoot the video. But there will almost always be a timing mark. And as a matter of fact, here it is right here. I stopped this video frame at 41 seconds. See it right there? 41 seconds. Which one of these is 41 seconds? Oh, Nixon was furious. Nixon was furious at Eisenhower because he was allowing him to do this. At the 41 second mark, watch it, play it, stop it, or actually just pay attention. And it'll say, there it is, poof. And that's why you have these side-by-side screens. It's so important that you set your screens up side-by-side so that you can do this quickly. This isn't like the classroom where I could play the textbook or put the textbook up on my Recordex and you all sat down. You've got to have your own side-by-side screens here. So that's the best practices that you need to figure out how to do it. All right. I love interactive maps. These maps are so cool. You can click on stuff up here on the key and make them appear and disappear. And so in order to force you to do this, this question here is actually going to ask you, this one's the freebie. The next one's going to be where you actually have to turn the things off. This one's a freebie. Notice down here at the bottom, this is a question embedded in the textbook, and you get to check your answer. So read the question, and it says, in which of the following regions was support for Truman the strongest? All right, and it is asking you northwest, the sun sets over there, right? Southeast, that's us, Florida. And Midwest, that's the Mississippi River, so follow that squiggly line. Sorry, going to be over here. Squiggly line, and that's the Mississippi. And then finally, the Southwest, which is down over here. So which one of those areas is the strongest area for Truman? So I was thinking, okay, looks pretty strong in the Midwest. And if I answer the Midwest, don't put it in over here yet. This is the freebie, okay? The freebie is you get to answer it in the textbook and check your answer. And I answered the, whatever I did, Southeast, and which of the following regions was support for Truman the strongest? I said the Southeast because I'm thinking Florida. Well, I wanted to get it wrong so that you could actually see it. So I said Southeast, and it told me, you idiot, it's the Southwest. Take a look, it's all yellow over there. Okay, so now you know, take this answer over here and answer Southwest, and you're going to get it right. That's just my way of saying, are you smart enough to actually go through the textbook and get these freebies? I hope so. All right, question number 9. Now you get to play with the map. Okay, so here you can turn off. It tells you to turn Truman off, back on, off, back on. The numbers that show up in each state represent how many electoral votes each candidate won in each state. Now turn off both Truman and Dewey. All right, so turn off Truman and Dewey and just leave Strom-Thurmond on with any color. And you can zoom in now, if you can't see it on your screen, hit the plus button. So here's this little magnifying glass up here. The plus means you can zoom in. Now, if you have a scroll mouse, you don't have to do that. The scroll mouse allows you to just scroll this button down. Means you're zooming in, you're getting closer. Okay, so it actually brings the map up towards you. And backwards means you're going to put the, you're going to come back and look at it from afar. All right, so that's the way that works if you have a scroll mouse. The actual trackpad on the school laptops are a lot like my iMac trackpad, where you can pinch and zoom to get closer in, and you can pinch and zoom to get further out. Okay, so that will also probably work on your school laptops by doing it right here, because this is the school laptop. So here's the little mouse pad down there. Try it. May not work, may work. Not sure. Because my school laptop is basically nothing more than a camera right now. So zoom in, and this is how you'll zoom, or you can use these icons here, plus or minus, plus or minus. And it says, which state provided Strom-Thurmond, the candidate who wanted to keep Jim Crow laws? He was a freaking racist. Strom-Thurmond said, hey, I'm going to run for president on one platform and one platform alone, and that is that the Negro race is inferior and needs to stay segregated from the superior white race. And he won 4 states and some of the 1 electoral vote in Tennessee. Go figure why the southern states are so backwards sometimes, because they've been run by racist white people like Strom-Thurmond. Anyway, I digress. Which state gave him the most? All right, so it says 10, 9, 11, 8, and 1. So 11 is the winner, Alabama. All right, so that's how you use the interactive maps. And you'll notice here it says, we're done. Submit the quiz. As soon as you answer the last question, this will go blue. If it's not blue yet, you haven't answered all the questions yet, and it'll tell you, if you try and submit it, it'll say, you have left 1 question unanswered. Go back and fix it. Otherwise, it's going to cost you points. And you can still submit it, but at least Canvas gets to say, I told you so. All right, so if it's not blue, you've missed a question. But it's still, if you click Submit Quiz and you haven't answered 1 question, it's going to give you a warning. So you're done. Now, if you saw my mistake earlier, you will notice that I misspelled rhythm. Rhythm is a really tough word to spell. It's got an H in it. Who would know? It sounds like an R-Y to me. R-Y-T-H-Y, rhythm. No, it's R-H-T-H-Y. And so it tells me that I lost points because I misspelled a word. So be very careful. The computer does not let you misspell words and get points for it. So I did that, and these are set so that it will actually give you the correct answers. If you are a stickler for 100% on everything, go back and take the quiz again, because I will allow you to take every quiz twice. All right? And here's all of the options for rock and roll. Notice that I am somewhat anticipatory of how you might misspell rock and roll. So even if you did rock and roll without the apostrophes, I would still give it to you. And if you said rock and roll, I would still give it to you. So I can anticipate some of your more common mistakes, but I can't anticipate every mistake, and I will never, ever, ever give you points if it was supposed to have a capital, all right, and you didn't give it a capital. You will always lose points on a capital letter, because proper nouns are proper nouns. All right, cool. And, oh, I mentioned the other ones. If there is not enough blue dotted underlines for people or definitions, I will look for something that's fairly obvious in the textbook. Anything that they think is important enough that they help you pronounce it is fair game for a quiz question. This is something I did for my 10th graders in world history. There weren't enough questions with blue dotted underlines, so I had to look for stuff like this. This is the, you guys have already studied World War II, so you know that the Rhineland was this area of France. And the mountain range was the, I want to say it Ardennes because I'm a Canadian, but it's Ardennes, okay? And it tells you Ardennes. All right, so anything that is worth pronouncing correct, anything that the textbook deems important enough that you answer it correct, is probably fair game for a matching quiz. So anything that you see like this, even if it isn't blue underlined, probably it may actually be on there. I want to have something that'll pull your eyes into it. So that's one way that it'll always pull in there. All right, time for the popsicle stick. And the popsicle stick number for this quiz is 20. All right, so write it down, and it's number 20 on this popsicle stick question. And this is how you advance through. There's only going to be one video for how to use textbook, how to write textbook quizzes. You will never ever see, on Module 14, you're not going to get another video. They're all going to be fairly the same. You're going to get good at these because this is my way of making sure that you got through these textbook chapters, textbook lessons, and that you know the whole story of what is important in the module. So Module 14, you're not going to get a video. There will be a textbook quiz for everyone. In order to make sure that you watch this video, all of these other textbook lesson quizzes are going to have a password for them as well. So here for you guys, it's lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, and in your textbook, they're all right here. So here's lesson 1, starting with the opener, lesson 2, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, and just walk right through it. So remember, you can close this, open this. The contents are here on this icon here. Click it and it'll close them. Click it and it'll open them back up again. So if you do need to navigate chapter to chapter, but for the most part, the right arrow is going to work moving right along from lesson number 1 into lesson number 2, into lesson number 3, into lesson number 4. And on the Canvas side, in the bottom right corner, the next button in the bottom right corner, which is hidden here by the student view that I have, the next button in the bottom right corner will take you into the next quiz, the next quiz, the next quiz. So this is how you're going to move through Canvas, next, 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 next. In the textbook, right arrow, right arrow, right arrow, right arrow, all the way through. And that will get you to the end. And babies will be the access code for all 4 of these quizzes. In the future, I'm not going to put access codes in them, but on this one here, I need to have access codes so that I make sure that everybody gets back and watches this video to get their access code. So it's babies, same for all of the Module 13 textbook quizzes. All right, that's it. Hope you enjoy the textbook. This is a fun chapter. The chapter is getting a little closer to home now as we move into Module 14. After this, you're going to be able to start talking to your parents and grandparents about what it was like, because these are years that they were probably alive, like I was. All right, enjoy.